Yeah, so, the war room, I just think it's a really funny thing. It's something that's brought up this time of year when you have the NFL draft. But it's definitely, from when you look at it, it's definitely a very high stress, intense environment. But like I said, especially the first couple rounds, these teams know who they're picking up. But, it's still an interesting thing. It's still a funny thing. And I like to see how teams will milk the clock. They'll wait till the absolute end of their 15 minutes, to do this. But, it is what it is. So, but anyway, and then if you guys are going to be checking out the ABC, obviously if you're in Wheeling, it's WTRF. Then some of my other home area, DC, they have their ABC affiliate. Eddie George will be on there. So that should be interesting. There'll be a lot of, big-time guests. And, essentially the NFL draft, it's the future of football. That's what everybody's watching. I know people like different sports, to be honest. Me being, a basketball coach at, all three levels, high school, college, and AAU, and, running cross country and playing basketball in college and beyond. I watch certain sports, and obviously I like football. I watch a lot of high school, college, and the NFL. My team, the Carolina Panthers, they're supposed to pick up, they're supposed to pick up an SEC guy to Mississippi State. He's a defensive end, Montez Sweat. We got the 16th pick. So we'll see how that goes. A lot of SEC guys are going to be going in the first round. It's no secret there, right? No surprise. But especially in the top 10 picks, there'll be a lot of SEC guys, and you can imagine the one school that will have a lot. Their head coach might have ties to my home state. No, he definitely does. Joking around, but Nick Saban definitely does. But so it's like something I've followed some, but I've probably followed less since I graduated college. But I definitely followed enough, maybe not as much as I should until recently, until I knew I had to cover this thing. But anyway, so, but it is the future of football, and it's something people should definitely, if you really follow football a lot, and I do a good bit, but if you want to see players progress, like I do that in basketball all the time. Guys I'll see play at West Virginia or in their conference, it was the Big East, now it's the SEC. It's cool to see him play in the NBA or overseas, and that's how you can look at it. If you really like the player on the college you root for, or a guy on another team that you saw in conference or out of the conference of your favorite team, and then you see him progress in the NFL 3 or 4 years, and he makes the Pro Bowl or is a really good player, or goes to the Super Bowl, especially if you saw the kid in college, that's cool, But speaking of seeing players in college, I'm going to get to who I think is going to be drafted, my mock draft for the first 10 picks. But, again, speaking somebody, I saw the great Kyler Murray, who is projected to be the number 1 pick of the Arizona Cardinals. His quarterback is, I saw him play West Virginia live this year. WVU kind of blew that game. They should have won. But he is, you watch guys on TV, but they look a lot better. I've noticed that in person. Michael Vick, same way when I was younger. I saw him play against the Carolina Panthers in the Georgia Dome. And when he was with the Falcons, and it was just unbelievable. You see how fast he's on TV, but when you see him in person, it's unbelievable. And that was the year before the Panthers made the Super Bowl, so they didn't really know how to guard him. And we didn't know how to. Me and my dad were just like, is Vic that fast, or are these guys just that slow? But I don't think it was that the Panthers defenders were slow. I just think Michael Vick is that good. He was that fast when he was younger. So, but yeah, Kyler Murray's your projected number 1 pick, and that's a consensus across the board. Now, moving to the second pick, they say the San Francisco 49ers. The projection is Nick Bosa out of Ohio State. He's another defender. If you guys like defense, this top 10, and especially this first round, if you look at the top 30 picks, it's a lot of defense. There's some offense in there, but a lot of defense for sure. And Nick Bosa and who my projected third pick will be Quentin Williams out of Alabama. They've been thrown around as a possible number 1 pick, but I would say the consensus Kyler Murray's going. Then you got Nick Bosa at number 2. And then number 3, New York Jets. I think they're gonna pick up, he's another defender, defensive tackle, Quentin Williams out of Alabama. Like I mentioned earlier, Nick Saban, Alabama's head coach. He's a West Virginia guy, as most of my audience knows. But yeah, so just out of that, your first 2 out of 3 picks, all defense. So then at number 4, no shocker here, another defensive lineman, tackle out of Houston, Ed Oliver. They say will be going to the Raiders. That's who I'm picking to go to the Raiders. Then number 5, Tampa Bay will be picking up Devin White out of LSU. He's a linebacker. So we'll see what to go back to the 4th pick, but John Gruden, he's a controversial coach, and he cleaned house last year, pissed a lot of people off. So we're going to see, made a lot of crazy moves in the offseason, so he's going into his 2nd year. So we'll see. They're young. They weren't very good last year. We'll see if he can turn things around. He shook up the roster. He wanted to clean house, so we'll see if he can get some good young guys in there along with some of the free agent. We'll see what free agent and, just veteran acquisitions they make through trades and what have you in the offseason. But I would say the Raiders are a team to look out for, especially in the AFC, but I think just in general in the NFL this coming year, be someone you want to look out for. Then number 6, the New York Giants. I expect them to pick up Josh Allen, defensive end, what they call edge now. It's a new trending name, edge. He's out of Kentucky, so that's who looks like is going to go at that slot. Then number 7, pick 7, you got the Jacksonville Jaguars picking up T.J. Hawkinson, tight end out of Iowa, another Big Ten guy. Majority, like I said, you're seeing a lot of SEC. You will see some ACC at the bottom of the top 10, but that's where they're saying finally another offensive player, tight end. And I would say Jacksonville needs as much offensive weapons as they can get, so a tight end definitely help them. They can pile up some wins down there in Florida. Then Houston, who's disappointing, I think, this last year. I thought Houston will be a little bit better, good defense, but you got to build around the top linebacker they have, TJ. So, we'll see what happens. But it looks like they're going to pick up Dre Dillard out of Iowa. He's out of the Pac-10, Washington State. T.J. Hawkinson's out of Iowa. But yeah, Dre Dillard looks like out of Washington State, Pac-12 guy. He's a offensive lineman. That looks like who Houston's going to pick up. Houston definitely needs some offensive help. And like I said, they need somebody that will protect the quarterback. So I think this will be a good pickup for them. So we'll see what happens. But I expect Houston, I'm not going to, don't quote me, but I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs, but I think they will compete for a playoff spot. I could see them pulling off 9 or 10 wins. Definitely an 8-8 season, but I can see them competing for a playoff spot. They'll have a better season. Then Buffalo at number 9. They're going to pick up Jonah Williams out of Alabama. He is a offensive guard. So Buffalo, again, one of those teams needs some offensive help. You want to have a good defense. That's at almost any sport, especially in football and basketball. Offense puts butts in the seats and defense wins championships, but you got to score. You got to put points on the board. No matter how good a defense you have, if you can't score a couple touchdowns, or in basketball, score some points, score some baskets, you're going to struggle. So Buffalo definitely needs the offensive help. So them picking up an offensive player is, I would say, is a good decision. Then at number 10, to round out the top 10, the Denver Broncos will be picking up Devin Bush out of Florida State. He's a linebacker. No shocker there, more defense. Denver struggled this year as well. It looks like they have some holes on defense, so they need some defensive help, a little more than offensive help per se. I think they have a pretty good quarterback. I like him, so we'll see what happens. Then number 11, I'm just going to go, this is my last projection here, but I kind of like the Cincinnati Bengals. If it was an AFC team I would have to root for, I would root for them just because, they pick up a lot of West Virginia players. They got Pac-Man Jones, obviously the late Chris Henry, really good receiver, played for them. Rich Braum, who is in their Ring of Honor, the Bengals Hall of Fame. He's actually from Morgantown, played at WVU as well, offensive lineman. So it looks like they're going to pick up, and back-to-back picks here from Florida State, showing you ACC team, throwing out some good, Florida State's a great football program, so they always do well. No shocker here, but Brian Burns, he's a defensive end, edge, again, like to call it edge. So back-to-back picks from Florida State. The Bengals could use some help on defense. I see them making the playoffs this year, so just like I'm hoping my team, the Carolina Panthers, will. Cam Newton, he's got some weapons, got a couple receivers. Jonathan Stewart, that running back, he's been with us a long time. He's going to stay. So I think getting some defensive help will help. We've got some good receivers as well. So, but yeah, that's my top 10. And like I said, I gave you a little more with the 11th pick. Some funny things you want to look out for. The Cincinnati Bengals dream prediction would be Devin White falling to the 11th pick. Now, we obviously know he's projected at number 5, but they would really like some linebacker help, more so than somebody on the D lineman. So that's their dream projection, him falling. But we'll see what happens. Also, the Bills could possibly go after a quarterback. That's a possibility. We'll see what they do. Right now, I see them picking up Jonah Williams, but things can change at the last minute. So maybe they'll go after a quarterback, build for the future. We'll see. Bring them along. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. But overall, I think it's going to be a really good draft pick. West Virginia's got a few players. They got the receiver David Seals, the quarterback Will Greer. There's also a good defender. I can't remember his name. He has it's like a very unique name. I think it's like more like a Caribbean African name, but he's a good player. Hopefully he gets drafted. It's 7 rounds. A lot of people go, but as you guys know, that 6th, 7th round, it's hard to make an NFL roster. Especially after you get on the training camp roster. But it's going to be an interesting draft. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And then more on the cultural side, there's over 2,000 volunteers helping out with the NFL draft. I expect Nashville to be very wild. I'm going downtown here in a few hours around the time the draft starts. So definitely look on my YouTube show here. You can always find it, Remi Marcus. I try to I put out the links on my social media and send them to my friends. But, if you just search Remi Marcus, M-A-R-K-O-S, or Coach Remi, you know how to spell Remi, R-A-M-I, you'll find it on Google or YouTube. But, yeah, so I thought that was really interesting. I saw that. But, it'll definitely be a wild time. It'll be a nice time. It's the first time the NFL draft's been in Nashville. It's interesting that it's not in New York, because this is the 3rd year it's been outside of New York. It was in 2 other cities previously. Chicago had it one of those 2 years. So it's interesting. I think this is cool to rotate into different cities, give NFL fans that maybe couldn't travel to New York an opportunity to see it. And like I said, me having ties to Nashville, this made sense to come here. Even though I love New York, I have friends close. I don't want my New York and New Jersey people to think I'm slighting them, but it's just an easier time, especially since I just left here less than a year ago. But yeah, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Nashville's a great city. You guys know that. A lot of partying. I mentioned the hot chicken earlier. People love that. So it's a knockdown drag out time. It's a good time. It's a lot of fun. They call it Nash Vegas because it's like the second most whatever you want to call it, getaway destination for bachelorette parties. A lot of bachelor parties. I know some guys from Wheeling, my hometown, Wheeling, West Virginia, that have came down here for bachelor parties. But some say it's overtook Vegas. I haven't looked that up yet, but I'll say it's number 2 because that's the last stats I've seen. That that second most big time destination. For bachelorette parties. But no, it's a good time. I think the draft. The Titans have always they're decent. Solid, but they have a good following. I think it's good crowds at their games. People really, people have really been behind the team. Obviously it's a newer franchise, only been around 15, 20 years. I remember the days when I was in middle school, Steve McNair, great quarterback, late great Steve McNair, taking them to the Super Bowl. They had Jerome Dyson, good receiver. Pac-Man Jones played for him as well. It's some good players. Mariota's a good quarterback. I think he gets a little more weapons, things will go better. But there's even a good tight end. The Titans had Frank Wycheck, he's a good player. But, it's a good fan. They just haven't had as many wins and probably as many playoff appearances they would like the last couple of years. But young quarterback, so we'll see what happens this year. But this is a good town for it. It's in the South, and I just think the cultural, because there's a lot of clubs, restaurants, club/bars. It's just a decent city for it. It's a good city, actually. I think a very solid decision by the NFL. But, yeah, so that's, and if there's any, if you guys are looking for hot chicken, if you're down here, Hattie B's, and my favorite place is in East Nashville. It's close to the high school and the facility we used for the AAU team. It's called Hot Pepper Fire Chicken. It's really good. There's a top 10 list. If you Google it, you can find it, because I went to one of the other places. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. It's called Prince's Hot Chicken, Prince's Hot Chicken. Those were like the top 3 that were on the list, and so I decided to go there. But if you look up the top 10 list, there's definitely some good places. I would try it. That's what Nashville's known for. It's a delicacy. It's like how pepperoni rolls were invented in West Virginia, and sliced pizza is big in Wheeling and Pittsburgh and just West Virginia in general. And the whole Ohio Valley, I'd say East Ohio through Wheeling over to Western PA, sliced pizza's big. So that's the traditional thing back home. For us, It's hot chicken down here, just like barbecue's big in Memphis. Somewhat big in the Carolinas, but it's known in Memphis. But yeah, so Nashville's a great city. Like I said, I think you guys will enjoy it. There's a lot to do here. You got the Country Music Hall of Fame here. They have the CMA Fest is every summer. If you're a big country music fan, they also have the Madame Tussauds. I've went to the real one in DC that's more like political and sports oriented, but they have one that's more musically inclined. It's at the Opera Mills Mall. Opera Mills Mall is a great tourist area, nice area. It's a mall / outlet mall. The theater's really nice. A lot of good places to shop, like the Nike store and True Religion. 2 Chainz' his favorite place. But you got Finish Line, Foot Locker, all kinds of stuff. Nice food court there. But there's and if you guys are history buffs, the Hermitage House is nice. Andrew Jackson, the U.S. president. Some communities don't like Andrew Jackson for obvious reasons, but he is from a suburb of Nashville, Hermitage, Tennessee. They have his house. There's a lot of ghost spots too. I don't know how you guys are into that supernatural stuff, but there's a lot of old like Civil War burial, kind of type of places, battlefields around Nashville. A lot of colleges. I know there's no college basketball, but if you like to walk around nice campuses and tour nice facilities, if you're a higher education buff, you got Belmont University, Vanderbilt, major D1 school in the SEC, and Trevecca University Division II, my favorite Division II, since like I said, played 2 sports at Fairmont State and coached Division II basketball for 1 year. So I like Trevecca's campus a lot. I'm obviously a little biased, but all those colleges are kind of amongst each other, and they're in the nice area, like the Gulch and the 12th Avenue South. That's like the new trendy area. It's close to East Nashville, which became more trendy. East Nashville's not as rough as it used to be. There's some new cafes and coffee shops and some new restaurants. Some nightlife as well in East Nashville. Obviously, the best nightlife is Broadway and 2nd Street. That's where all your Tequila Cowboys, Tootsies, FGL houses there. I'm giving all these guys need to pay me. I'm giving all these guys promotion. Jason Aldean even opened up a restaurant less than a year down there. My place I really like is the Adult Arcade, Beercade HQ. It's like a nicer but more unique Dave & Buster's. Obviously, there is a Dave & Buster's at Nashville. It's at the Opera Mills Mall, but I like Beercade HQ a lot. Excuse me there. It's one of the nice places, It's really unique because the arcade games are free. Obviously, you buy your drinks. It's a little bit of food, but and they have old school arcade games like the Simpsons game, NBA Live, NBA Jam, NFL Blitz, the games I grew up playing, Pac-Man. So it's really cool. But yeah, well, that's my skinny. Like I said, Google anything if you need to know more about the city. Definitely tune into the NFL draft. I think it's going to be really exciting. Oh, one more thing, Dirk Bentley, he will be performing in the NFL once free. Doing a lot of fan fest and events around it. They're doing some musical shows that are in conjunction with the NFL draft. Dirk Bentley is one of the performers, but you can find all that information online. Like I said, just Google it. It's on NBC did a nice article about it. Check your local CBS and ABC affiliates if you have those news apps on your phone or that website. They're showing national coverage like Wheelings. Like I said, I have the WTRF on my phone, and they did a really good job. I think they have some local coverage, but mainly national ABC reporters are down there reporting for all the affiliates. So, it's going to be a lot of fun. Again, this is the future of football, so it's going to be very interesting. Another projection I have, I think there'll be at least 2 or 3 quarterbacks taken in the first round. I don't think Kyler Murray will be the only one. So it's going to be very interesting. I hope Will Grier is, a late first round or some, early to mid second round pick. But I think as long as he gets drafted in the first 3 rounds, same thing with David Seals, he'll be good. But hey, I'm going to sign off. Appreciate you guys listening. Leave comments in the YouTube bar. We're trying to get these views up for everything. There'll be a lot more promotion from me and my, street team, Team Remi. Got some good promoters around me, some good friends. So we'll be working on that. But hey, comment anything you guys have. Talk on my social media. Don't blow up my phone. I know internet trolls get a lot out of hand. I don't respect really internet trolls, but if you have any suggestions, want to talk about the draft, sports, Nashville, any questions you have, you guys, a lot of you guys have my phone number. You got me on Snapchat, all the social medias, Instagram, Facebook. I don't use Twitter as much, but I do have it. So if you have any questions about Nashville or just want to talk about sports, especially the NFL draft, this is what I'm here for and this is what's going on. Also trying to get some stuff in the Wheeling newspaper, kind of covering it for them. So look out for that. maybe in the Times Leader, that Ohio paper. It's all owned by the same people. Ogden should be hopefully something in there. And Wheelunk, I'm hoping, but they like more local stories. So, but just look on my blog site, YouTube show, and like I said, those other media outlets monitor that, and I'll be putting out links on my social media and sending them to people. So appreciate you guys listening. Have fun. Like you said, enjoy the draft. If you're down in Nashville, enjoy the town. I'm signing off. Thank you guys again for listening. Have a good night. Appreciate it again. Thank you, fans. Love you guys.